everybody, it's Matt from KoreHealth. Today on KoreKast, we're talking to our friend Dr. Matteo Capodaglio, a performance nutritionist to some of today's biggest UFC stars. Great athletes know that for peak performance, they need to optimize their fuel intake. That's where Dr. Capo comes in. We get into what a performance nutritionist does, including his planning and process. We also get his thoughts on diets and junk food, cooking, Italian food in America. His answers just might surprise you. Okay, without further ado, here's the conversation with Dr. Capo.
Hey, Dr. Capo, I'm really excited to meet you because Jason has told me so much about you, and I feel like I've done my homework, but I sort of want to hear it from you. I've heard stories. I've heard nothing but good things.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I hope those good things are true. Obviously.
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about, but absolutely yes. Whatever he said, yes, it is true.
Well, it's awesome to have you. We're stoked to talk to you today, and especially as hopefully as a new friend to me and to KoreHealth in general too.
Yeah, sure. Where are you calling from? The East Coast?
I'm in New Jersey, about 30 miles south of New York City, and there's no electricity here. You can see the lights above me up here. We had a tropical storm roll through earlier this week, and the internet that I'm talking to you through is powered by two giant orange extension cords running through my house.
Okay.
So I managed to turn the refrigerator on and the internet on. That's about all the power I've got. So
the two most important things you need: food and internet.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So let me just kick us off here. I think this is an easy one. Dr. Capo, what do you do and what do you like most about it?
So what I do, I'm a sports nutritionist or a performance nutritionist, as I like to call it. I moved here in the States, in Los Angeles in 2018 from Italy. And basically, I help talented athletes to succeed. And then I work also with the general population. So I work with a lot of executives, a lot of people, they are willing, maybe they're amateur athletes, but they're willing to get the best out of their nutrition. So that is what I do mainly. And
what do you
I eat
like?
Pasta as an Italian for sure.
Yeah, I wanted to get to that stuff. I want to hold on to it because I'm not a big pasta guy, and I want to pick your brain about that too.
Absolutely.
What do you like most about being a performance nutritionist? I like the performance word too, better than sports.
Well, what I like the most is, and it's also one of the reasons why I decided to move to the US, is like being a performance nutritionist, you are rewarded when your athletes get rewarded. So, I'm 31 years old, and I was not looking to just to have a regular job, because I had a regular job back home. Actually, my first degree is in pharmacy. So my family is in the pharmacy business, and I wasn't looking for that. I was looking to something that was more challenging, and that I believe is the job of a performance nutritionist. So the more my athlete win, the more my name goes up. So that's the most exciting part.
Yeah, that's a good lead into what I think I was going to ask you next. Is I did read that your family was in the pharmacy business. That sort of influenced you in a fairly unique way, where you've got one side of the health business and you sort of jumped onto the other side of the fence as far as performance nutrition is concerned. So that was the thing that had the influence on you to pick up sports nutrition?
I mean, yes. It's not that I regret having studied pharmacy. It's still something I like. And I'm proud of my very first degree. Actually, the way my family played a role in me being in sports more is the fact that, it's one of those families where most people are doctors. I have a pharmacist, I have a I have a physician in my family. I have a philosopher in my family. So no one was really into sports. And especially as a kid, I didn't have the chance to practice as much as I wanted, to be as competitive as I wanted as a 15 years old kid, 16 years old kid. I used to play water polo at a pretty good level. But if anything, my family hold me back from doing that. And then, in the long run, kick back. So when I saw the opportunity, okay. I mean, I was never like an elite athlete, but now I can create elite athletes. Yeah, in that sense, yeah, he played a huge role. Who knows? Maybe if I had a career as a, let's say, decent varsity water polo player, I would have said, okay, well, I challenge myself and I'm good with it. And on the other end, that didn't happen, and so I had this thing. I want to challenge myself, and 31, I'm still like in sports, and yeah. So
You like to be, it's good to be involved, right? I can certainly relate to that. You want to get back into, Jason and I often talk about like glory days, and Jason's still doing it, but I certainly am not. And, playing basketball and football growing up, you like to get back into that stuff and learn about this stuff. This is why this is really interesting for us and for KoreHealth, right? For everyday people who want to continue to work out, to continue to eat healthy. They want to be able to walk around the block without pain, or, give their kids a piggyback ride, or just pick up a basketball or a baseball and not hurt themselves, right?
yeah.
The athletes you're talking about, what kind of athletes do you usually work with? I know there's some UFC fighters in there too, but I don't want to just dial us into those. If there's other athletes that you're working with too.
Yeah, I work mainly with UFC athletes, and actually my roster is increasing, I would say monthly. I have Marvin Vettori, which is number 14 ranked UFC middleweight. I have Lauren Murphy, which is number 4 now in the flyweight division. I have Giga Chikadze, which is 3-0 in the UFC, signed just 11 months ago. And then I work a lot in grappling and wrestling. I work with Nathan Tomasello, which is 4-time All-American, 1-time NCAA champion, the Ohio State former the Ohio State University, and jiu-jitsu, a lot of jiu-jitsu guy. So ADCC champion Augusto Tanquinho Mendes and Mikey Musumeci. So yeah, and I mean now I have some up and coming athletes. They're getting to me, and I'm starting to work with them. But this is like the main roster. That's what I call La Scuderia, which is the same name that Ferrari uses. Ferrari uses for his Formula One team. So.
Oh, I like that. I like that term. So what? Help me understand what like a performance nutritionist does for an elite athlete like that. If I've got a fight in 6 months or an event in 6 months, what's your role? What do my meals look like? Do they change as you get closer to a certain competition or something like that? How does that work?
Okay. So, I mean, first of all, if you reach out 6 months out, you're an athlete that really cares about this performance.
Well, that's a good question too. When does that process usually start? Right.
It depends on a person. Let's say Jason Manley had to prepare his comeback in MMA. I believe it will reach out between 2 and 3 weeks out, probably. And that will be like a good amount of time for us to work, because he's a freak of nature. He's an elite athlete. He has some special, I believe, genetics. Is one of a kind. So that works with us. But I mean, 6 months out, the first thing I do is an assessment. I try to understand what is the starting point, because if you don't know where you are, you don't know where you can get. So we look at how much the athlete rests, how much the athletes train, how much is he eating, if he's overeating, if he's undereating, if he's overtrained. That's something very important. If it's, like drinking or like whatever. And we start with initial plans, and then every week I collect feedbacks and I modify the initial plans, and then we move forward. And I try to also create let's say a network with the head coach, with the strength and conditioning coach, so I can have multiple feedbacks. So yeah,
it's funny you mentioned Jason, because I've never seen anyone eat more junk food or more unhealthy and be such an elite athlete than the man on the screen with us here. What do you say to somebody like that who does that? What are your thoughts on somebody who's burning, I don't know, 10,000 calories a day probably, but is eating 6,000 calories worth of chocolate bunnies from a discount grocery store?
Well, but first of all, here's the thing about the Jason Manley. So, okay, now you see Jason Manley. That is, looks 25. Is 41, Jay?
I don't even know anymore, to be honest with you.
Sorry?
I don't even know anymore, honestly. I could be 35 or 55.
Okay, yeah. So, we have this guy, which for sure as an amazing genetics, but on the other hand is, well, if we had a smartwatch and we could track the amount of time that Jason trained in his childhood, in his growing up, I don't know. He probably used to train like 5 hours a day for 15, 16, 20 years. And so that's kind of paying dividends in his case. So for sure, that's a good starting point, but also the epigenetics, what he did for himself, played a role. And now you have this person that can have a whole pizza, 2 whole pizzas without putting a belly.
Yeah, without even feeling full, I think, because he just goes back to the well.
Yeah.
We do have a watch, by the way.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, but we don't have a time capsule. Like, we should go back in time.
Unfortunately, we don't.
So,
We'll try it on the way. I'll send you out one, Capo.
Yeah, but just so you know, Matt, Jason's dad, he will beat me if we run 100 meters.
We will be most people at, I don't know, 60, maybe 67, 68, somewhere around there.
I've seen him lift on some of our core stuff too. I've seen him on the bands, on our core bands, our core focus stuff. He's I wouldn't want to tangle with him.
Yeah. So
yeah, Pops is a world class athlete for sure. But Doc, I noticed you misspoke, but you said some genetics. I think you meant to say environment earlier.
Sorry, I lost you for a second. Can you repeat, please?
Can you repeat that, Jay? I don't think you broke up there for just a second.
I think you misspoke. You said something about genetics. I think you meant to say environment, because I don't believe in genetics.
Wow. You know what
I wondered if we were going to get into this, and I'm glad we are. Yeah,
I'm saying. So I believe mostly in epigenetics. So in your upbringing, your experience as a collegiate athlete, as a high school athlete, having parents that push you to do outdoors activity, that is for sure. But the starting point, it was a very good one, let's say. Like, if you look at your whole family, also you can say, yeah, they all train fine, but I'm telling you, there's also a genetic component in your excellence. Come on. Come on.
Are you staying mum on this, Jason? I know we don't want to. I'm sure we could spend a couple of hours talking about it.
He was probably outperforming other kids at the Cedar Sinai when he was born at the hospital. He could outperform 1-day-old kids already. That's what I believe.
I don't deny that. I've seen him in action too. Dr. Capo, how much of what I know you said you sort of make a baseline assessment, and then you sort of go from there. How much of what you plan out is experimental? Do you often, is that something you do on the regular, is readjust on the fly based on the data you're seeing?
I mean, yeah, that is very important. In terms of experimental, I mean, I always based everything on the literature that I read, and then I integrate that with my experience. So, yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a very important part, because without data, you don't know where you're going. So, as much as I can, I use facilities like the UFC Performance Institute, like other testing centers, and like by gathering together data, the feedback from my athlete and my experience, then I move on with creating protocols. But in terms of like experimenting, like I just something bump in my mind, like and that has no connection with the actual science. No, that I tend not to do it. Like if it doesn't have a base, at least a scientific base, I don't do it.
Do a lot of your programs look very, I shouldn't say similar, but do they have similarities between athletes as far as the food groups and actual food that you're prescribing for somebody like Marvin or one of your other athletes? Do a lot of the food groups look the same? Is it a shake for breakfast? Is it a protein and a vegetable for lunch? Is it, how does that usually shake out?
So there are some principles, some scientific principles that they're universal, and then you try to understand also what the athletes likes, because there's also a psychological component in nutrition, and you put everything together, and then you basically want to apply those principles to the athlete's personal taste. So if you have someone like Jason Manley, that if the training session is at 9 a.m., he will wake up at probably 8:50, and that will be early. He will tell me, it's like, Capo, I don't have time to cook a lot and do something gourmet. So what I want to do is having the nutrients that I need to go into the training session, and that's going to be in his case, for example, a shake. So you're just going to put whey protein, maybe milk, maybe some fruits. I don't know. I mean, it depends on the case. And he's going to be good to go, and he's probably going to drink his shake as he's driving. Okay. On the other hand, you have those people, they wake up 5:30 in the morning. They do their breathing exercises, their yoga as they see the dawn. And then they have time to prepare and namaste and everything. And in that case, maybe you can do like an acai bowl that's more like complex, or you can do some kind of sandwich. But the thing is, science, like the principles are always the same. They just need to be interpreted.
And that makes sense. What I'm going to say a word, and I don't know if it may be a curse word in your world, and I want to hear what you think about it. The word diet, right? Oh. Are you a fan? And I mean dieting in the sense of I weigh too much and I need to eat less. I'm going to go on a diet. Is that a curse word in the performance nutrition space? Is it eating should be part of the lifestyle that you're trying to live, or is dieting a part of this?
No, diet is a good word, actually. I mean, I wouldn't be mad if someone uses it. The big misconception about diet, like people confuse the word diet with the hypocaloric diet. So a hypocaloric diet is for sure a diet, but the diet is not necessarily an hypocaloric diet. So I was reading the other day an article about NFL athletes, and a linebacker that is eating, I don't know how many calories, but he's probably on a diet. So that is a diet as well. A strongman is on a diet. So there's nothing bad to be on a diet. If you talk about a highly hypocaloric diet, then I mean, I'm not a big fan if your goal is performance. Oh, and one thing we didn't clarify earlier is I work in what I call the performance field. So I don't work with all those athletes. They belong to the aesthetic side of sports. So like I don't work with bodybuilders. I don't work with physique athletes. So my goal is for you to eat harder, to be sharper, to throw the ball for more yards. So that is performance nutrition, which is opposed to aesthetic. That's a whole another field. So for my goal, performance, very hypocaloric diets are pretty detrimental.
So that sort of leads me to like, what advice can you give to regular Joes, a guy like me out there who doesn't train like Jason does or did, right? But sometimes has trouble eating well, or sometimes I eat well most of the day, and then I see a bunch of cupcakes sitting around at night, and I want to eat like 6 or 7 of them. What advice can you give to people who have trouble maintaining? Yeah, and I see you clapping down there. It's that's part of the grind. What advice can you give to people who have trouble maintaining like a healthy eating lifestyle?
So, for example, you did a good example, Matt. So you have these cupcakes in your kitchen. So why do you have the cupcakes? So I'm telling you as a first advice, it's easier than what you think is. It's not throw it away. You just have a very good meal, the meal that you like the most during the week. And right after that, you go do grocery shopping. So by doing that, you will not have that push to buy a lot of junk food, So that is the first thing. So first thing, if you wake up in the middle of the night and you don't have choice, so you don't have the cupcake, you just have your frozen fruits, your milk, that's already going to lead you to a better choice from a health standpoint. For people that used to be very active and they stop being super active, my main advice will be emphasize, so most of your foods during the day should be low in caloric density. So it means you want to have foods for a certain amount of food with a small amount of calories. For example, let's say you want to have carbs in your day. You can pick we can pick carbs from different sources. So you can have syrup, like fructose syrups. You can have cookies, or you can have sweet potatoes. So in order to feel satisfied, to feel like your belly is full with sweet potatoes, you need to like in the end, if you feel full through sweet potatoes or through like chicken, through fish, that's going to be way less calories compared to feeling full by eating chips or eating cookies, super like heavy in sugars and having saturated fat cookies. So yeah, that is the main advice that I have for that type of people. Just prioritize low caloric dense foods and high nutrient dense food, because these natural foods happen to be richer in vitamins, minerals, and
the good stuff, right?
Yeah, the good stuff.
Jason, have you ever gone grocery shopping and not been hungry?
Yeah, most of the time, because I pride myself on being financially prudent. So I know what type of damage I'll do if I go to the store and I'm hungry, right? So no, that's not really a problem for me, but definitely knowing that I can eat as I will and not really suffer the consequence of it definitely absolutely encourages me to buy more junk food. But also, Dr. Capo can attest to this. There was a study that came out last year that supported my use of gummy bears and licorice prior to training. Right, Doc?
Yeah, I don't believe the article now. I guess I removed it from my. But for sure, like sugars in certain type of training, especially high intensity training, yeah, they play a big role in the power output for sure. That doesn't mean that they should come from gummy bears. Don't get me wrong, but that is an option.
Is there a better source of sugar than gummy bear?
I mean, yeah, for sure it is. There is.
You probably just can take a cup of sugar from the kitchen cabinet and throw it in some water, I assume, but that's probably it, right?
No, there's also supplements, sugar supplements, but I mean they don't taste as good, and they don't have that friendly look of gummy bears.
Exactly.
I have heard that's why he eats them, because they look friendly, and
Yeah.
he just wants to chomp on something. Dr. Capo, there's the idea of performance and nutrition are so closely tied together. I wonder what you think about, or what you say to people, or when you talk amongst your friends and peers, what you say to someone who doesn't want to exercise or doesn't want to eat right, that they want an answer maybe in the form of a pill or in the form of a doctor, say a chiropractor or a masseuse or something like that. They've got a messed up back, hurt knee, something like that. What do you think about that? What are your thoughts on something like that?
How many good things, good and durable good things, did you get from taking shortcuts in your life, Matt? I'm asking you.
It's not been a lot. I ascribe to the philosophy that things should be done well, and if something needs to be done, it should probably be done fully.
Yeah.
And there's usually not a shortcut, which is, and Jason and I talk about it a lot too, but it's not, most of the stuff that's worth doing is usually not very easy.
So, and then I have a question for Jason, because, as we were talking about his ability of burning calories. So the question for Jason is, how did the post-training felt when you were at California and you were training at 400 meters? How did it feel?
After working out, horrible.
After, yeah, exactly. So,
Every time.
Yeah, tell the people more about that type of training. That's probably, I believe that plays a huge role in you being the not the skills, but being able to be lean, even though you eat a little bit more than other people now. But tell the people how we felt training at Berkeley in track and field and doing 400-meter sprints.
Well, that's probably the worst thing you could possibly do. Like if you had a list of workouts to do and you had to choose like that, there's probably nothing else that I would choose. That is probably the absolute worst workout that you could possibly do, running 400 intervals. So no, I don't think there's anything worse in any industry, I don't care what type of, athlete you are. That's probably the absolute worst thing you could possibly do. So yeah, 100%. Like that makes a difference for sure. I mean, our fight grappling training is pretty much the same too. Like in terms of the intensity and the amount of work. Like, yeah, it's fun only because it's not, it's not running, which to me is one of the least fun things to do. But yeah, it's the same thing. We train super intense, super hard. So yeah, I know it pays dividends for sure. Just in comparison, because I trained the other day at another gym, and we trained like for less than 15 minutes max, like in terms of actual intense goes. Like we went for 15 minutes or less. Like That's like not even a warm up, when we train. So yeah, I think the intensity and the whole the nature of how we train, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, so it doesn't mean that everyone should be, Michael Phelps in order to be fit, but between that and hoping that things come to you, there's a sweet spot, and that's where you want most people being at. And yeah, and it's mostly related to behavioral changes. So understanding the importance of it, try to gradually incorporate some certain routines to your day, and that is it. Because if you wake up and you think like, okay, today is gonna be hell because I have to train, I have to eat properly, and you're probably gonna drop out from any protocol. And on the other hand, if you understand, if you enjoy actually, if you have a good team to practice with, then it can become just part of your, not just, being fit journey, but also your social journey, because you're going to end up spending more time with people that you like in the track, on the mat, in the gym. And, you're more likely to bring other friends to train with you rather than dropping out.
A nice little trickle down effect that healthy living, working out, eating can have with you. I like that. I like that kind of outlook.
Yeah, for sure. Like in my personal experience with UFC fighters, at the beginning, I'm like, well, what do you think if I come to fight week with you and I help you prepare for the fight week? Now it's mandatory. Like when I get hired from one of the UFC athletes, I said, I know that if I'm there, things are going to be easier. So that's part of my service.
Mm-hmm.
Take it or leave it. And they're all okay with it. They all love it. And, because it's part of like those behavioral changes, those mindset that leads to success.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I had remembered another question I wanted to ask you about the athlete. Do they plans change by sport, right? Do they also change by goals or even body composition? Like what are the forcing factors that make you want to tweak something for an athlete?
Composition is important. There's some misconception usually. Someone thinks that to get super, super lean needs to cut carbs. On the other hand, I believe when you have from my experience, when I work with super lean athletes, they benefit more from high carbs diet compared to low carbs diet.
And why is that?
It's we could do a workshop about that, but yeah, those are the things that I wish I could put it all together in like a 5-minute answer, but it's way more complex.
I see.
So I mean, I'm not even gonna start. On the other hand, like if you have if I have athletes that come to me and he's overweight, it doesn't really happen in combat sport, but it happens in other sports. Usually you can rely more, especially at the beginning, in lower carb diets, even though at one point you need to cycle carbs. But the very beginning, just to start, that's a strategy that I saw working. And then obviously it depends on the age, on the previous history, on the sex. So yeah, it's, everyone receives his own protocol or her own protocol. It really depends. And yeah.
Got it. I want to talk to you about eating. You're Italian, right? You're from Italy. You like to cook and eat. What do you like to cook and eat? Is it strictly Italian food, or do you dabble in other?
No. I don't want to. First of all, I want to say that moving to California, I couldn't say no to the In-N-Out culture. And I was initiated by the goat of junk food, Jason Manley. So I enjoyed that. Even our person that I really like, Anthony Bourdain, He was also a jiu-jitsu practitioner, and it really inspired me. And he said that In-N-Out is a very good restaurant. It has a very good focus. You go there and you know you're going to get that double, and it's going to taste the same wherever you are. So that is good. Joke apart, on the side, I like different type of foods. I like, being in LA, the Latino influence is pretty big. So you can have very good tacos. I was in Texas and I tried Tex-Mex and I liked it. I tried also, of course, Korean barbecue, and that was good as well. So I mean, yes, let's say.
Don't forget American Thanksgiving Day food, sir.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that we should open a chapter on holidays at the Manleys. But no, so I mean, let's say 60% of the food that I cook, that I make, or that I eat is Italian. But the more I spend here, the more I'm open to new culture. I tried Bolivian food. For sure. Brazilian barbecue, that is very good. And then there's also this other chapter of my life, which is holidays at the Manleys. That's a whole new world.
What's the best thing you've had at a holiday at the Manleys? Has it been dessert, or has it been something from the main course?
Where do I even start? Oh, let's say I also spent my first Thanksgiving at the Manleys. So, we are the game squad, and how can we not like the Jason Manley's mom turkey? It's very good.
And it also was the first time that Dr. Capo almost defeated one of his UFC athletes because the great Marvin Vettori refused to stop himself from going back for seconds and thirds, even though he had one of the biggest fights in his life coming up in 3 weeks.
Yeah, just the basics. Yeah, so
that's why Doctor travels with Marvin wherever he goes, so he can literally wrestle him to the ground when he tries to go.
Yeah, now we brought it to another level. Like now I put myself between. I put my life at risk by standing in between the food and the athletes sometimes in this occasion. Yes.
And these aren't regular people. These are dangerous people, Dr. Capo. If they're hungry, I know what people look like when they get hungry. I can't imagine a UFC athlete very hungry.
I know, but it's the risk that's part of the job, because you're willing to sacrifice yourself for performance reasons. So
you should get hazard pay for some of that, right?
Yeah, I should work on that. I'm sure there's something, some extra waiting for me. But it's good, and it was great actually for people that are listening now. When I first founded my company in California, and I moved with my visa, my first work visa, I stayed at Jason's place for the first 4 months in the States. And so we shared a lot of moments like Christmas and Thanksgiving. And the years before, when I was visiting on a touristic visa, on a ESTA, actually, it's called, we spent multiple Thanksgiving together, at least a couple. And so I got to know the real American traditions. And also, for example, as an Italian, I thought it was just turkey, but then I learned about the stuffing, which is as important.
Oh yeah. Jason, what's your family's specialty? Is it is it stuffing? Is it we had sweet potato pie growing up, which was always
So
just always felt like mashed sweet potatoes with a bunch of whipped cream on top, which was always right up my alley.
We have piles and piles of sweet potato pie because it's not good enough for you to have sweet potato pie there. Like everyone needs to take 1 or 2 home. So Mom's makes plenty of sweet potato pies. We have dirty rice, stuffing, yams with the marshmallows on top, turkey. everything, just an abundance of food. Yeah, we have a nice little for Christmas and Thanksgiving. We throw down. We have a nice little feast all the time. So
you guys do it up big, Dr. Capo. You probably got to experience some really nice food there. What I can imagine it would be a bit of a challenge to understand the difference between stuffing and I had trouble growing up between stuffing and mashed potatoes and sweet potatoes. And somebody who's not from this country, I can imagine it would be. So this is another bread product or another potato product that's similar but yet different than this one over here.
Oh no, but Jason's family is extremely knowledgeable, extremely well-spoken. So they got me into this culinary experience. And no, I never had a problem. Like I knew where to go, and they established their family name in my mind as the family with which I had the Thanksgiving. But also I established another legacy, which is the NAP legacy. Indeed, I'm known. After taking all those calories, to have an insulin spike and to fall asleep wherever I am, sofas, wherever. And yeah, I feel like I'm undefeated in that aspect.
I have many photos and videos of the doc on Thanksgiving or Christmas Day, laid out, sleep on the couch.
From the food. That's the ultimate American tradition is finding a good spot to take a nap after a huge holiday meal.
Yeah, for sure.
What does Italian food in America? What do you say to Italian food in America? How does it compare to the food you grew up eating?
Well, okay, so
you got them started.
No. Because
I just wanted to wind this up just a little bit. I may or may not have been prepped for a question like that from Jason, Dr. Capo.
No. I want to tell you, because actually that is the good thing about traveling in your life, living in different places. Oh, first of all, can I tell you? You really look like one of the Beastie Boys. I love that.
Oh, I do?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know the names, but one of them, you really look like. I'm a big Beastie Boy fan and Rick Rubin fan. So
Mike D or Adam, I used to love the Beastie Boys. I forgot the one actually. I'm sad he passed away, right?
Yeah, 5-6 years ago. But anyway,
I'll take that.
Okay, yeah, it's a compliment. But anyway, so what I was saying is, at the beginning, as I moved here. And I see all these restaurants and they're like Italian American. I got mad. I was very, very cocky. I was obnoxious by, saying, "Oh, this is not real Italian. This is not real Italian." Then once I spoke with a chef. He's actually now a good friend. He used to work at Italy, used to work at Four Seasons, so a high-level chef. And he was telling me how these adaptations of the Italian food started because our first immigrants that came to the States is not like right now that, I have my doctoral degree, I have my master's degree, and then I move here to the States thanks to a work visa for extraordinary ability in science. It was not like that. People used to get on boats and come here the way he could, and then start to make a living the way he could, like try to survive at the beginning. And so things like pasta with meatballs that is not famous in Italy, like no one does it. If you go to a restaurant and you ask for pasta and meatballs, they will not know what it is. But that for them was a way to put together good nutrients. And like meatballs is not the same meat that comes from filet. It's not the same meat, so it's lower quality for sure, lower price especially. So for them was an adaptation that probably was necessary to survive, and that was a big lesson from the chef. And so after that speech, that exchange of opinions,
the perspective changes a little bit.
Yeah, I try to be more indulgent. Okay, then that said, There are places they just, misuse the word Italian. And I feel like it's almost a fraud because, I understand the evolution, but if you never been to Italy, if you don't have connection with Italy and you just like open your restaurant, maybe just to, I don't know, you just decide that it's going to be Italian for no reason, with nothing, no connection to the Italian culinary world. That to me is kind of disrespectful, but that will be disrespectful in every field. So
I can understand that. I can get on board with that. I read somewhere that you have a recipe for homemade pesto. I'm a guy who I could put pesto on a car tire, I think, and I would eat it.
Okay.
I would eat a bunch of them. Can you share your pesto recipe with us?
Yeah,
Can we?
Sure. So the ingredients are Parmigiano Reggiano, the cheese you can get at Whole Food. Then there's a Pecorino Romano, which as well you can get everywhere at Whole Food. Then you have basil leaves, you have pine nuts, extra virgin olive oil, and some almonds, and that is it. So you just, the doses are like usually, you just need to adjust the doses, but it's also in your personal taste. And it's easy because you blend it and it's good to go in a second. So those are the ingredients that I put. But there's our number one chef in the world that is Italian, Massimo Bottura, that is actually like reinventing. He's doing a lot of pro bono work for people, less, less fortunate.
Fortunate, yeah.
Yeah. So he's feeding a lot of homeless and doing this project. And he's trying also to bring some, his field, the gourmet cuisine to them, but he's doing adaptations. So there's actually an interview, I don't remember at Conan, if it was at Conan on American television, where he was making pesto, and instead of pine nuts, he was using breadcrumbs.
Mm-hmm.
He was using toasted breadcrumbs. So like, it's the same thing. Jason will tell you, it's the same thing that happens in jiu-jitsu. So when you start jiu-jitsu, you maybe feel, I don't know, more entitled to think that your style is, the best style and this and that. As you grow, you become like an accomplished black belt. You're open to learn from other people, to change your style. And that, I guess, is the thing also with the cuisine. So as you start, you know how to do like 3-4 recipe. You might, feel like a little bit, cockier about the few recipe that you can do. If you are Bottura, and one day you're gonna have probably Obama at lunch, and the other day you're going to have Jeff Bezos, probably, because I believe that's a real scenario for him, and everyone praises you, then you feel like more open to experimenting. So yeah, I'm trying. There's actually, Bottura is doing a masterclass. I bought the masterclass and I'm trying to learn from him. It's very interesting.
That's a great idea. Yeah, we we've only started using, it's been the last year or so that we've used pesto in my house here, and my son likes it on grilled cheese. We put it on eggs. We put pesto on a lot of stuff. The grilled cheese thing is, I gotta say, you're making a grilled cheese, instead of put pesto on the inside of it when you grill that thing up. I think that might be like my favorite thing ever.
Okay. Pesto is delicious on everything.
Yeah. I'm glad you feel the same way, Jason. I mean, I could put it on like a big piece of plastic, and I think I'd eat it.
I'll have to challenge you to a grilled cheese cook-off, though, Matt.
Oh,
greatest grilled cheese of all time.
Oh man! All right, I can get down with that. I can. You certainly have a voracious appetite, but I've got like probably 50 pounds on you, so I could probably still put it away.
Grilled cheese still kind of falls into that junk food, especially the way I make it. So I'm confident in my abilities.
as long as it doesn't have any like fruity pebbles or anything in it, I think I'm your man.
Butter, cheese, and a skillet.
Oh man,
of bread.
You're speaking my language now. I can't wait for travel restrictions to be up. I'll fly to LA and we'll eat a million grilled cheese. I promise. All right, Dr. Capo, I have just a couple of closing questions for you. I had you on the hook here for an hour. I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Oh, today actually in 30 minutes I will need to go anyway because I need to take my driving license, driving test in the States. So
you already been driving for, man. What do you need the license? Just keep rolling.
Yeah, just keep going. Keep going the speed limit. You won't get caught.
Yeah, no, but it's not that I'm driving without the license. I have my Italian license, but now with the possibility of staying here for longer, I mean, sooner or later, it makes sense that I just also take the American one. So it's all good.
Well, that'll be a good follow-up. The next time we talk, we'll have to ask you if you have passed your American driver's test. Okay. They're gonna make you take a silly photo and park between two big orange cones.
Yeah, so, I need to say I'm pretty proud. I crushed the written test with just one mistake, So after nuclear chemistry finals in farm school and a thesis at the World Anti-Doping Agency, then I could also pass the written test of the driving.
Yeah, you know who has the right of way when four people come to a four-way stop. I can see where it would be similar to nuclear chemistry or whatever you were doing.
Well, Capo, all right. You should feel proud. Our dear friend Troy failed the test. So.
Oh, really? The written test?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Twice. He's a youngster. He's 19 years old. He's a youngster that doesn't do his studies and thought he could show up. He failed twice.
Okay. Oh, and by the way, as a real Californian person, Jason Manley introduced me to the Prius culture.
I did introduce him to the Prius culture, and he is driving a Prius.
You're gonna do the test, and you're driving with a Prius.
Yes, for sure.
Do you drive a Prius, Jason?
Of course, I have owned many Priuses in my time, and I currently, I'm in I have a Prius and a Lexus hybrid also, but I like to. As they say, Matt, money don't grow on fees, my brother.
Yeah, that's right. I hope the emissions consciousness that you guys feel in California makes its way to the East Coast. I don't have much hope that it does.
I have to be honest. I don't care about emissions. I'm just saving gas money.
You gas. Okay. So it's purely a monetary thing. And I respect the hell out of that.
And I get a carpool sticker too, which is important in California. Carpool sticker and about $30 to fill up.
Oh, that's not bad. What is the carpool? Does this carpool sticker get you in the HOV lane? Is that what it does?
With one individual, sir.
Oh, all right. So you can put like that inflatable dummy next to you and you can just zip through, right?
You don't even need the inflatable dummy. When you have the stickers, you can ride through with just one person. It's legal. Yes, it is legal. Sir.
That's awesome.
I know you got a couple questions. I got a couple questions for Doc too, some dietary.
Please jump in.
So, Doc, question for you. They say that chocolate milk is just as good of a supplement as a protein shake. Do you agree or disagree with that statement?
It depends in how would you use it. So if you use it as a hydration supplement, I believe it's better than whey protein. If you use it to implement muscle protein synthesis, it's better whey protein.
So like as a post-workout drink, right? If say I just want hypertrophy, I just want to be fit to be fit.
Yeah.
Am I doing whey protein after I'm like squatting and running a few miles, or am I doing chocolate milk?
You're doing both.
Oh.
So yeah, nothing stops you from having both. So
if I want to get swole, I need to stay on the whey protein.
yeah, for sure. That is the priority, but also you want to have carbs as well. So you might have. I mean, let's say the case where you're just running from one place to another because you're a businessman, you have so many meetings. So then, in that scenario, you might also have, like, let's say, some maltodextrin like Vitargo, which provide carbs, and then you can have whey protein, and you can have milk. If you want, you can mix it. You can different shakes. It doesn't matter. Let's say you have more time, and you can have some lean meat in a sandwich with maybe some vegetable. That is also an option. And then maybe you can use some hydration product. Some, like, for example, I don't want to name any brand, but there's a bunch of them. But yeah, for sure.
Is a Burger King Whopper considered lean meat in a sandwich?
As we say in Italian, I'll let you know. I'll let you know, sir.
One other question.
Yes.
Is there a limit to a cheat day, or is it completely no limits? Eat as much of whatever it is you want for the whole duration of the day.
I mean, I don't even like to call it cheat meal. I want to be more apologetic and drop this gem. So let's start to call it free meal or free day. Okay, the free day. In the country of freedom, you have a free day, not a cheat day. Come on. And what I'm saying is, if you look at the big picture and you create such a caloric deficit, like, in the rest of the days of the weeks, then sometimes like a free meal might just bring your weekly caloric intake to something that is called eucaloric. It means that you're going to have the same calories that you burn. You cannot look at the single day. You need to look at the whole picture. So, I mean, is there a limit? It depends what you want to do. Because let's say if your caloric deficit is 100 calories per day for 6 days, and then on the 7th day, you're going to have the Dwayne Johnson free meal, that might lead your average caloric intake to a hypercaloric intake. So on the other hand, if your free meal is going to be a pizza or a pizza and a half, let's say, or two, that might fall within the eucaloric nutrition.
Got it.
So,
we'll let you know.
It depends on the big picture. It depends how good you're doing the rest on the other days.
Gotcha.
I've seen The Rock's meals in those free meals or free days that he has. I could see how those would tip the scales.
Yeah, that's those are incredible. You might want to compete with Dwayne Johnson, Jason.
I think for on a junk food basis, I don't think he could match up with.
Yeah, I think you might have him. I feel like he's always drinking like 4 glasses of tequila after he eats, though, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's pushing that tequila, Pushing that tequila. Shout out to my boy Brad Slater, The Rock's agent. Yeah, man, they pumping that tequila.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
100%.
Well,
all right,
question for me.
Yeah, Dr. Capo, I got one more. All right, so if you weren't in performance nutritionist, and you weren't in pharmacy, what would you be doing?
Well, there are two things, honestly. There are, like, probably one is pretty close. So if I were not a pharmacist or a nutritionist, I'll probably like to be a physician, for sure. That's a field I might like. I might liked other fields. I don't know, maybe because I love that it's competitive. So maybe, I don't know, maybe getting an MBA and working in finance, Because I mean, like, doing something like, it's opposite, but like living in I love New York. As an Italian, I love New York. So I could see also myself being there and working in finance, or in some board of a company.
Dr. Axelrod.
Well, I mean, it's a long way to the top, but I mean, hedge funds, I don't know, but I mean, it went this way. I don't think it's gonna go the other way. But if you ask me, and I'm like 19 and need to choose where to go in college, that maybe the economic field I would have liked as well.
That's great. Jason, what about you? What would you be doing if you weren't a man of many faces here?
My brother, that's a tough question because I'm already doing too much as it is. But if I wasn't doing what I'm doing now, that's a good question. Originally, actually, when I went to school, I was supposed to go to law school. I was going to be a defense attorney.
Mm.
And then somewhere along the road, I decided I did not want to do that. So I think maybe I would have started doing that, but then I think at some point I would have decided that I don't want to do that either, right? So,
yeah. You'd have parlayed that into like contracts law or something. You would have been the Rock's agent.
Maybe that's what I would have been. I could see that. I got a lot of family in that Hollywood industry, and it's fun. So something exciting. That's all I can tell you. Because for me, it's like gotta have the excitement on it.
But come on, Jay. You could have been also NFL wide receiver for sure.
Yeah. The only problem was I hate football practice. Like I did football a bit. This is like, MMA, we get in there, we train for a couple hours, like call it a day. We might come back in the evening, do the same thing. Football's like 8 hours, like wake up early, get on the field for 8-9 hours. Like, yeah, I wasn't up for that. And I definitely wasn't for the verbal abuse that football coaches like to dish out like it's normal. So
so
at a young age, I knew that wasn't something that was going to work for me.
So here, if I understood correctly, to show how American I became, are we talking about practice?
Yeah, exactly. We're talking about practice.
Oh, practice, huh?
I like how this starts and ends with AI. I'll take that all day long. Dr. Capo, thank you. This has been a revelation. We're gonna love having you on here. I'd love to have you on again. Maybe we can do like a cooking session with Dr. Capo. A couple of those. I think that'd be fun.
Sure. Now I'm all focused about stopping before the line and look at left and right before making a turn. I'm ready to crush this.
I love it. All right. Well, everybody out there, make sure you check out the doctor on Instagram. It's at Dr. Capodaglio. He's got a great YouTube link on there. I've done all of I went down the Dr. Capo YouTube rabbit hole. It's a lot of fun. There's tons of great video content on there. Reach out to him there. You can always find us at KoreHealth.com, Instagram, and at KoreHealth Official. Jason Manley the same way. He's always prowling around on there. You probably see the doctor pop up in some of those feeds too. Dr. Capo, again, thank you.